My name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. This is Ben and Barry on football.
My name is Ben Dickerson. I'm the Ben part. He's the Barry part. I'm repping the PTTFL today. I'm ready to talk some football.
PTTFL. Ben still coaches. We both played in that league. That league's been around for a long time, Benny.
Longer. Started in 1963. That's what
1963.
1963. That's when it first began.
I was a mere baby. I wish. All right, look. We have a schedule. And we're going to talk about the schedule. It came out, 2 days ago?
Thursday night, 8 o'clock.
Thursday night? Yesterday. Came out yesterday, exploded on the scene. And it's been so much put out about it. Even just going back and showing how it used to be done versus the way it's being done now. From what I understand, it's cloud computing at work now.
Wow.
The calculation is so humongous in the possibilities, and especially within the parameters that they're putting up, that they had to go to the cloud, and that way they have unlimited computing capability. And one day after it all came out, they're still saying, I think we screwed it up a little bit. So fallibility is still there, but we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at a few other points of interest, especially relative to just football. You and I always talk about we're football fans first. You're a Giants fan. I'm a Niner fan. We're NFL fans. But we're football fans first and foremost, and football seems to be popping out like weeds across the world. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with that and how that's moving and changing things. And then there's a few miscellaneous things that have happened that I want to make some points about and maybe throw some discussions out there. And we have our rants, and then we'll wrap it up. Sound good?
Sounds good.
The first thing we want to talk about, as I said, is the schedule. Now, let me say this. The schedule is out. We're going to use USA Today, their publication, where they basically put out the entire schedule for all 32 teams based on the Eastern time zone. Sunday night games in week 5 through 18 are subject to change. So we're going to simply scroll through, get everybody a chance to kind of just see what's going to happen with their team. And you can kind of, if you're a Bills fan, for example, you'll see every game here that the Bills are going to play. We'll just mention a few different things about some of these, and we'll go from there. So let's kick it off, Ben. We have the AFC East Division. We have the Buffalo Bills as our first team that we're talking about here. What do you see in this Bills schedule that interests you?
First of all, tell me this. How many Buffalo Bills fans do you know?
Well, I'm not in Buffalo, so I wouldn't expect to know too many.
Okay. So anyway, the Buffalo Bills. I will say this, and this is all I have to say about the Bills, really, because I don't see a particular game that I can pick out that would hold a lot of interest for me, unless perhaps it was a division game, which are always interesting, even if it's against the Patriots. That being said, they've been making some moves in free agency, and we may get a chance to talk about some of the more important moves that really worked out for some teams after the draft. But the Bills may surprise you with the defense that they come out with this year. They should be much improved, actually. But AFC East, that's a tough division because the Patriots are there.
The AFC has some things that have already changed there. I think it's interesting. Now, let me ask this question because you asked me how many Buffalo Bill fans that I know.
Yes.
When's the last time Buffalo played on Thanksgiving?
Probably never. I don't know.
Isn't that weird? That seems weird to see a Buffalo game on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, much less in Dallas.
Well, but that's the thing. The Cowboys are always on. So one of the two teams that's playing is pretty much on every Thanksgiving. The Lions are always on, regardless of who they play. The Cowboys are always on, regardless of who they play. Now, that night game might be tricky. But I'd say Buffalo's on because they're playing Dallas.
That'll be an interesting competition. Just looking at the two teams, I'm not saying that I think either one has a particular advantage over the other at this particular point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. They finish up, they open up their season against the Jets, and they finish up their season. Matter of fact, the finish of their season looks to be a little challenging. You look at the Buffalo Bills' last 4 games, they got the Ravens. Okay, I don't know how good the Ravens are going to be. Then they have the Steelers and the Patriots, and then they close again against the Jets. I kind of think the Jets should be a little bit better. They're second-year quarterback, so we shall see with that. The Miami Dolphins open up against the Ravens. What do you think about them?
They've been a losing team for the last couple of years, and they'll probably continue to be so.
Did you see the video with what's the quarterback that they picked up from from Tampa Bay?
From Tampa Bay. Oh, yeah. That's right. They got Fitzmagic.
They got Fitzmagic now.
Yeah, and he didn't even have to really move.
He must have looked like he gained some weight because they had on the news him talking about it. He was telling it's the cake. He said he got like all these kids. And he said like 3 birthdays.
Oh, so he's been eating birthday cake.
He said he's been eating too much birthday
cake.
Hey,
look, he's an old veteran quarterback. If he wants to get fat in the off season, it's cool with me, man. He throws touchdowns. He throws touchdowns.
The Dolphins just signed a 5th-year option on Larry Tunsil.
Ah, yes, Larry Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil. I'm very happy for him. I'm glad that his career went the way it should have individually. I mean, obviously he's on a team that's not very good, but he's considered one of the best offensive linemen that they've got. And he fulfilled his promise for when they drafted him after the fiasco of the gas mask incident, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Right before the draft, he was shown smoking weed through a gas mask type of apparatus.
Gas mask, you couldn't see his face for the smoke.
Yeah, that actually cost him a few $1 million, but he's making it up now.
Okay. I guess he cleaned up. Interesting, because, you know, was it last year when they had the miracle finish against the Patriots?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they get to finish again against the Patriots in the regular season on December 29th. So this time, well, last time Gronk couldn't stop him. He ain't there this year.
So
they ain't going to stop him at all. Speaking of them, New England Patriots opening up against the Steelers. Is that September 8th? That is a Sunday?
It's either a Thursday night or a Sunday night.
That's a Sunday night game.
Okay, so that's the first Sunday night game, 8/20, September 8th. And it's funny, couple of perennial winners that have great fan bases and have also had some interesting turnover. We won't talk about turmoil because that's only on one of the teams. But turnover, the Patriots and the Steelers. Great that they're playing the very first game. That's going to tell us a whole lot about both of them. Life after Gronk for the Patriots and life after AB for the Steelers. So we'll see how that goes. Both of them are projected to be playoff teams, obviously. So this should be one of the more interesting games of the beginning of the season.
I'm looking at this run. Let me see. They open up against the Steelers. Then they at a certain point where here it is, they have a run against the Eagles and the Cowboys. So they play two NFC East teams in a row. They stay in Texas, play the Texans. Then they got to go see the Chiefs. That's going to be an interesting run right there, I think, for them.
I don't know. That might not be too bad for them.
Well, it's a Sunday. It's an 8:20, a 4, and an 8, and a 4. So they're all evening games. Actually, if you go back beyond that.
How many are home?
Yeah, a lot of evening games, night and evening games for the Patriots.
Yeah, but how many are home?
How many are home?
Yeah. If it's a night game at Gillette Stadium, that's a lock.
She says a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let me see here.
They got the Giants at home. They got to go to the Jets. I'm looking at the late game.
Actually, I've heard mentioned that they have one of the best schedules.
They got to go to Houston. Yeah, this schedule is not really a real big deal. They might lose.
Patriot friendly.
They might lose 3 games.
Patriot friendly schedule there. Not bad. Not bad for the Patriots. All right. Jets open up against the Bills. And then they get the chance to play the Browns and then the Patriots. And then they do their little NFC piece between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Going to see the Patriots again. What do you like on this schedule?
Well, first of all, if the Eagles and the Cowboys are supposed to be are going to be as good as they're supposed to be, then that spells a little bit of trouble for the AFC East because everybody in the AFC East will play a team from the NFC East this year. So this entire division that we're talking about is going to see Eagles, Cowboys, Redskins, or Eagles, Cowboys.
Yeah, because they play 2 NFC teams in a row twice. They play the Eagles and the Cowboys, and then they play the Giants and the Redskins.
That's going to happen a lot for every AFC East team.
Is it? I'm noticing that. We'll talk a little bit more about that. All right. Ready to move on to the AFC North with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's second year. Well, he didn't have a full first year, but he'll have a full second year. He'll come in as the starter, no doubt.
I agree that he will come in as the no doubt starter. They need to work on their passing game. They really do. We know they can run the ball. They have several good backs plus Lamar. So that makes for a good run game. They got good run blockers on the line. But they're going to have to get a passing game. I'm going to tell you why. Let's talk about a stretch, a real stretch. I think the second and third week of this season, this stretch starts. They play the Chiefs at the Chiefs, I believe.
Yeah, they're at the Chiefs.
They got the Chiefs. Then they got the Browns.
Yeah.
Browns in the division.
Right.
And then they got the Steelers.
Right. Right.
Then they get the Bengals, who I don't expect to be very good. Come back.
Wait, before you move past that statement there, you got your wish. Bengals have a new coach. You still don't expect them to be any good?
That's not going to make no difference.
It's not?
No.
A new coach?
The first year?
Okay. All right. Well, then all right.
No, I didn't want Marvin Lewis gone because I thought he stunk as a coach. I wanted Marvin Lewis gone because his team stinks and he had to take the hit for it because he didn't make them better. And they wasn't better when he was there, and they're not better now that he's gone.
Okay.
Give the guy a chance.
I got you.
New administration a chance. But that's not – no, they're not going nowhere. I'm looking at the Bengals as a break. So you got Chiefs, Browns, Steelers. Then you earn a break with the Bengals. Then you got Seahawks, a bye, and the Patriots. That's a bad stretch. That's a tough stretch for a one-dimensional team.
Well, this
You're
is the
not going to just
overriding
be able to.
question. The overriding question with the Ravens is every other team going to duplicate what the Chargers did against them? Will they still be able to try that tactic this year? You're saying they got to get a pass game together. If they don't have a pass game, then that's what everybody's going to be doing.
They're going to have problems. If he can't throw the ball efficiently and at least come from behind through the air one or two times, this schedule could spell doom for them.
Could spell doom?
It could spell doom for them. And guess who they play in the NFC? The NFC West.
Yeah.
The Seahawks, your boys. Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
top of that.
This is the first team as we've scrolled through where I've seen my Niners show up. And
right.
Again, you were talking about a stretch where the AFC is playing two NFC teams. It's happened a few times with us. You got them playing the Niners and the Rams.
Right.
And, same division consecutively there.
That's my point. You got to deal with your division, and then you got to deal with that.
The Bengals, who you say are not going to be very good, open up against the new $140 million man on a Sunday night game, 405?
Yeah.
And again, there's that double division when then they go from the Seahawks to the Niners. They have a couple in there in the AFC, then they go to the Cardinals. So, all right, not much to look for there unless you have another point you want to make about the Bengals.
No.
I will note, because we come up on the Browns, that they close out the end of their season. It's an all Ohio game, Browns and the Bengals to close out the season. So that'll be an interesting close. Browns, the intriguing game of the team of the league, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing them.
They were going through their old win-loss thing on one of the channels, and they had the tight end Njoku.
Yeah.
And the analysts or the people on the channel who were calling the wins-loss were giving them an 11-5. They were saying 11-5 for the season for the Browns. And when they asked Njoku about it, he was like, it was funny to see him, because basically he's saying, well, he wants to say we want to go undefeated.
Sure.
Which we understand, but considering where they've come from and considering that there's only one undefeated, team through the regular season. The Patriots didn't go undefeated through the regular season, did they?
Listen, this is what I say to people that say, all right, I ain't going to win every game. Which one are we going to lose? You want a player on the team to look down the schedule and say, oh, we'll probably lose that one. I'm not going to say that. Oh, I don't know. We got the Steelers. That's going to be tough. Baltimore, yeah, we might lose that one. What player is going to say that? None. That's why. But he knew if he said, we're trying to win every game, everybody would go, ha, 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 ha.
Right.
Because they're fans and they're journalists and they're, So
that is a hell of a question to ask.
That's why he struggled with the answer to that. Because, again, the people that are asking him, they played the win-loss game. They looked at the schedule and said, that's a win, that's a loss, that's a loss, that's a win, that's a win, that's a loss, that's a win. That's how they came up with that 11 and whatever.
When do they play your Giants here? Do they play your Giants?
I doubt it.
I don't see them. I don't see the Giants on here.
AFC North plays NFC West.
Okay. Yeah, they got my Niners and they got the Seahawks in the NFC West like that. Okay, they don't get to play that. I don't get to see that drama. I was looking forward to that drama.
What drama? That's
OBJ coming back to the Giants, playing the Giants, baby.
That's no drama. That's no drama. He's
You can
gone.
only see that in the. You can only see that now in the Super Bowl. That's the
He'll
only
have, he'll
possibility.
have, he'll have 3 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. Ho hum.
The Steelers. What do you say about this? Them.
Well, all I can say is the departure of Antonio Brown is something that's going to have to be dealt with once training camp begins. I think he was such an impactful player that some conversation has to go on, even if it's just Mike Tomlin stepping up and throwing his name in his opening day speech before training camp and getting that stuff out of the way. That being said, I'm looking for a lot of things out of Juju. The only problem is Steelers fans, don't get super excited. I expect Smith-Schuster to have a really good season. But unless they move him outside, he's never going to be quite as dynamic as Antonio Brown was. But I expect him to put up monumental numbers for a slot receiver. It can be done. Edelman does it. It can be done.
You think they're going to keep Juju in the slot?
Yes.
Really?
That's where he works the best. I mean, if they move him outside, so be it.
Did he play outside last season? Isn't that where he was at?
Nope.
He was in the slot most of the time.
Yep.
Okay. I see them. They got the Seahawks and the Niners, the double NFC West game. Patriots, Seahawks, Niners. I don't think it's going to be easy, even with my Niners. So that's going to be a very interesting a game relative to that. Okay. Steelers, and they close out against the Ravens. They have an AFC stretch, Bills, Jets, and Ravens to close that out. That's all very winnable there down that stretch, isn't it?
I'd say so.
We shall see. Houston Texans. Deshaun gets to open up against Drew Brees, bet on a Monday night.
Right. So we're talking about the AFC South now, which means they all play the NFC South. AFC South plays NFC South. That may not be good for the Houston Texans because that means they will see Breeze, they will see Matt Ryan, they will see who I can't wait to see, Cam. Cam's finally going to have his shoulder right. He's been playing like a season and a half, 2 seasons with a bad shoulder. So
is he going to be throwing the ball around like Luck?
It got worse.
Baby ball.
Worse. And yeah, he's going to have to do the same thing. He's going to start with a Nerf, then graduate to the Pee Wee ball, then go to the high school ball. Oh yeah.
The Texans are going to get a chance to see Nick Foles in London.
True, Jacksonville. That's true.
Nick Foles.
I don't know if that's going to mean anything. That remains to be seen.
Well, both AFC. They come back from Nick Foles. They go up against the Ravens. That's a hot quarterback contest. The Colts, that's a hot quarterback contest. The Patriots, that's a hot quarterback contest. A lot of hot quarterback contests coming up. Not bad. They close out against the Titans. That's not bad at all. The Colts. Open up against the Chargers. What do you like about the Colts season?
I believe that the Colts will win their division. That's what I believe.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I like the Colts. I like Luck. I like the way he came back. A decent draft will do them justice. They gotta clean up their defense a little bit, and they're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
I'm looking forward to him playing the Chiefs. Little gunslinger action on a 8:20. What's that? A Sunday night?
That should be a good game.
That should be a good game. Yeah. I want to see. I'm looking forward to seeing that right there. And they close out against Nick Foles and the Jaguars in Jacksonville. They get to go to sunny Florida. to close out their season. That ain't bad. So, like we said, the Jaguars open up their season against the Chiefs. That's going to be a test. The main test, the question with the Jaguars is, we know that there's a question mark relative to Nick Foles and the offense and how that's all going to work together. But the question with the Jaguars is the defense. They had the defense in the years up to last year, and it seemed like last year the defense stumbled. If their defense is going to have to get ready and be up to the task, like right off the bat, they got the Chiefs, the Texans right off the bat, two competitive teams that they're not going to be able to be laxing. And we know about the first quarter. A lot of times the first quarter, it's like you and I call it the second preseason, first quarter of the season, but that's not going to be a joke right there.
Saw something really strange last year with Jacksonville. That defense was highly touted the year before and was basically the same defense going into the beginning of last season.
Not just touted, they did well. They actually played well.
They did play well, and they were touted for even higher expectations.
Okay.
But the offense never followed along.
Right.
The problem was the offense was so monumentally bad that it actually affected the defense, which you hope never happens. But, when your defense is on the field for long periods of time, or they get a stop, and as soon as they sit down, you're punting again, it can wear on you. And even though they still basically had the same defense, they did not play well. Not only
think it was the spirit, they could dispirited them.
I really think so. I watched a couple of their games, and I really believe that had a lot to it. They weren't out talented. It looked like they were giving up on games, if you ask me, but that's just my personal opinion. That being said, that's a lot of pressure on Mr. Foles, who you keep mentioning as being a big game against this team and a big game against that team. I just saw something today about Tom Coughlin getting on some of the veteran players for not coming to voluntary workouts this week. And he called some people out, and I think he named some names, and that's not a good start. That's all I'm saying. It's not a good start.
There's a whole question about the voluntary workouts and how voluntary they actually are, especially under the new practice rules and regulations that kind of limit the amount of time and the amount of things that they can do. So that in and of itself, I think, is going to wind up probably in the Players Association in the next contract. They're gonna have to decide, because you can't really, if it's a voluntary workout and these guys are veterans and they don't come to, they don't show up out of shape, like Fitzmagic. They come
there's nothing
ready.
they can do about it.
Huh?
There's nothing they can do about it. It's voluntary.
I know, but it's just, it's it's a negative spirit if the GM is calling you out and complaining about you.
He's allowed to say that he's disappointed that leaders of the team didn't come to a workout.
He's allowed to say it, but I don't think it's the spirit of the team.
That's all he did. That's all he can do.
We just talked about him being dispirited last year. I do look forward to you got the Chiefs and the Jaguars, both quarterbacks coming out of the Andy Reid system.
Okay.
I just thought it was interesting. Two Andy Reid, quarterbacks coming in. They know that they should know each other, or at least they know. At least Foles knows the Chiefs system. I don't know if the Chiefs are familiar with what the Jaguars are going to be doing, but Foles should have some idea what the Chiefs are going to be doing. So that's a good intel right there. All right. Anything else? They play in London on November 3rd.
No.
We didn't mention that before, and when they played the other team. We got the Titans here opening up against the Browns. What do you like about the Titans?
Nothing. Derrick Henry is still a bust. Marcus Mariota is on his way to being a bust. They lost a couple of
Wait
the.
a minute. You said Marcus Mariota is on his way to being a bust.
Yeah, he's not a full-blown bust because he still has some potential. He's still on his rookie deal. They seem to be, committed to him. He's got a chance to recover.
Well, when you look at the starting 3 games, all AFC games, first of all, you got the Browns as an opening game. So the Browns are coming in.
They're going to lose all 3 of those. They're going to lose their first 4.
You think so? Even the Falcons?
Yeah.
Think they'll be able to beat the Bills?
Jacksonville, and they got to go to Atlanta. Jacksonville in September is hot. Oh, they're lucky. That's a Thursday night game. It's still going to be 90 degrees. Then you got to go to Atlanta. Then you get a break. You get Buffalo coming in. But they're going to lose to the Browns. They're going to lose to the Colts. They're going to lose to the Jets. Yeah, they're going to lose the first 4.
Oh man, you're tough, man. You're tough. They have they come off the bye. They play Kansas City before the bye. They got your Panthers. There's your man Cam.
That's after the bye. Oh, they're done. Oh no.
No, that's before the bye. After the bye, they got the Jags, the Colts, the Raiders, the Texans, the Saints, and the Texans again.
Right, but my point is, after they lose to the Panthers and lose to the Chiefs, then they get a bye. Then they get Jacksonville, who's trying to win the division by all means necessary. And then they got the Colts again. We can go back. We can do the win-loss game on this team real fast. Just throw a whole bunch of W's up there, and whichever one don't stick, maybe that'll be a win. Come on, man.
AFC West, Denver Broncos.
Rebuilding.
I see. Where we see they open up against the Raiders on a Monday night.
Two real mediocre teams. A lot of questions about the Raiders, though, so I'm sure they'll get that's good for a Monday night early.
Dude, that's 10:20 Eastern time.
Yeah.
I'll be watching that on replay.
Oh, yeah. That's a little late. You know what? That must be 10:20. Jeez. Maybe there's a doubleheader that Monday night.
Must be a doubleheader.
Yeah, I think it's a doubleheader.
And they're the late game.
Yeah, because they're in Oakland.
Both West Coast, yeah.
So, but
in Oakland.
Yeah, just keep in mind when you're looking at some of these teams in the AFC West that are not the Chiefs, that the AFC West has to play the NFC North. Steelers, Ravens, Bengals,
okay,
and Browns. So that's not going to be fun. You got the Chiefs twice.
So they actually open up against the Raiders and close out against the Raiders.
No, wait, I'm sorry. I said AFC West. They play the NFC North. Bears.
You to give me your little matrix
Bears,
on how that all works one day. We'll talk about that. We'll make that a segment, educational segment.
Oh, well, it's not really. They just switch them around every year.
Okay, well, if that's what it is, that's what it is. But you got the Broncos, and they have their new former Ravens quarterback. So that's a big question. Did you hear he already said that? He said that he don't think that they need to draft a quarterback.
Who said that? Oh, Flacco?
Flacco.
Of course. He's trying to get a new start. He already had a rookie come and take his job.
He said,
so he's being proactive right now. Okay? He's trying to get another 5 or 6 years out of this career that's been slightly derailed. I don't blame him. I'd say the same thing too.
You would too?
Yeah.
I left that alone.
No.
Hey, look, he's gonna have to go out there and play. That's what it's gonna be about. Because if they don't do it this year, And if he don't get out there and show something better than what he showed the last few years in Baltimore, they will be taking one next year.
No doubt.
No doubt about it. Okay. Kansas City Chiefs, second year, Patrick Mahomes.
All right. So let me look at this here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
First of all, they play in Mexico.
Yeah, that's way down the line in November. All right. I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and say the Chiefs start off the season 7-0.
7-0.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see here. I can see it with the Jags. I can see it with the Raiders. I can see it with the Ravens. I can see it with the Lions. I think that's going to be a good game against the
Look
Colts.
at you.
Huh?
The only scary game to me is the Colts.
What about the Texans?
What about them?
You don't believe in Deshaun this year?
It's not about Deshaun. They're not that good. They don't run block. They got no running game. He's on borrowed time. He's going to get hurt again. They don't get it together.
7-0. Wow.
They can't stop anybody.
7. That's through the Broncos. Well,
Right.
Why not beat the Packers and the Vikings while you at it?
Well, I don't, I expect the Packers to be better, and I expect Minnesota to be better. I do. Thielen will be back from Minnesota. Devontae Adams has fully taken over as the number one receiver for Aaron. They got 2 good running backs. They got some work to do on the defense, but they're going to be tough. The only scary game I see in that first bunch of that 7 that I picked is the Colts.
What about closing out? They close out. They have the Chargers before the bye. They got the Raiders. Then they got the Patriots.
Yeah,
Broncos. I'm looking at the Bears in December 22nd.
This is, you know what we should do?
Khalil Mack chasing Patrick Mahomes around the place.
What we should do is we should do this again at midseason, okay? And then we'll know which of these games really mean something. Because it's kind of tough to speculate all the way out to December 22nd or whatever.
Yeah, but it's just some interesting combinations here. The Raiders, we don't expect a whole lot. They will be in London, as we said, against the Bears on October 6th. One of the things that the Raiders have as an anomaly in their schedule, once they go, okay, so they're at London, right? So that's, even though it looks like they're I'm not sure who the home team is, but they're not home physically. They have their bye when they come back from London, but then they're at the Pack, at Texans. They have Detroit, the Chargers. They go back across the pond to see the Jets. They're at the Chiefs. So Raiders, I'm not sure about what the Raiders are going to do next year. I think it's going to be interesting with the Raiders, especially after the draft. I think you really have an idea about how. Do you have a feeling that there's some tension between the coach and the GM?
No.
No?
Nope.
Okay. They got rid of their entire draft scouting group, right?
Right. Because they don't know who they can trust. So who's going to be in the room?
It's just going to be Gruden
and the GM. The 2 people that trust each other.
I don't know if they trust each other somehow, because I don't know. Well, I heard, like, for example, Gruden said something to him about don't screw this up or something like that.
Yeah, it's jokes, man. It's all jokes.
Okay, I think Gruden is in his mind, he's the GM too.
Right, and they'll work together like they've been working together.
The Chargers. What do you think about them this year? Anything?
I mean, AFC West plays NFC North, so let's see. We get to see Phillip Rivers against Aaron Rodgers. Denver always plays them tough. They got Kansas City. Yeah, I think I'd like to see the Chargers make the playoffs again because I want to have that feeling, at least the feeling that Phillip Rivers has a chance to possibly win a Super Bowl if he gets on the right kind of run. But other than that, I mean, I'll watch the Chargers as many times as I can because I like the Chargers and I like Phillip Rivers.
Okay.
So I'm hoping.
I'm interested in that game on October 13th against the Steelers. Looks like a Sunday night game. October 13th.
Yeah, it's in LA though.
Okay. I just like the match. You know, I'm interested to see that matchup. Um,
I,
you know,
I mean, I'd
against
say that matchup favors the Chargers.
interesting. Right? Just saying that. That's what I'm saying. You know, Chargers, they go again, the Chiefs in Mexico. So that's an away game for all of them. Let's quickly run through your NFC East. You got your Cowboys opening up against your Giants.
Yeah.
Two straight division games coming off right out the box there. They play the Eagles right before the bye, October 20th. Two division games in a row. As a matter of fact, they have sort of an NFC stretch: Eagles, Giants, Vikings, Lions, before they have to see the Patriots on November 24th. And we talked about them playing the Bills. Anything else you want to mention?
No, just that first game against the Giants is the only thing I really had to say about the Giants, at least early on. I mean, let's face it, Dallas and the Eagles will probably both be favored to be the front runners in the division. So starting the season off with Dallas, I think, is probably a good thing for the Giants.
Okay.
They got to start making strides. They really do. If this Eli thing is going to play out, then we got to let it play out.
Well, we're getting ready to move to the Giants. Let me just say they do have an NFC stretch. The Cowboys at the end of the season: Bears, Rams, Eagles, and Redskins. So they have that NFC stretch coming up at the end of their season. A lot of playoff implications are going to play out at that point. New York Giants. Okay, so like you said, is Eli? What did his GM said? Still
Doesn't
got.
matter what he said, man. He's an idiot. The Eli thing has got to play out. We won't have. I won't have an idea of the direction that it's going to go in until after the draft. Are we talking about the draft tonight?
No.
No? Okay, well then let me just say this one little tidbit since we're not going to have a full-blown discussion on it. You know what? That's okay. I'm going to save that. But I won't really have a good feel for the direction that the Giants quarterback situation is going to go in until after the draft. There seems to be some question as to whether they're really going to just say, Eli's our starter, he's our guy, and then we're going to draft the quarterback early, and he will be the backup, and then here we go. Or they're saying, Eli's our guy, he's our starter. We're going to take a defensive player, preferably a pass rusher, with our number 6 pick, and then in our second pick in the draft, we can get a quarterback then. Only problem with that is, now I'm just speaking about the Giants since we're on the Giants. The only thing about that is, I don't know how much of what they're saying is like smokescreen for whatever reason. I don't know who the heck they think they're fooling, or real indecision. You know what I mean? Or just the fact that the journalists can't really pick up on what they're doing because they're saying so many different things. But me, if it was me, I'm telling you, if Kyler Murray goes first, the next 6, 7, 8 guys are probably going to be defensive linemen. If I'm the Giants, I get one of them. Now you got a top pass rusher to add to your defense. And then when the 17th pick in the first round comes along, Murray will be gone. Dwayne Haskins will probably be gone, but you're sending out little feelers like you don't really like him. But the other guy, Daniel Jones, the Eli clone, he'll still be around. So I say all that to say you got to get a quarterback in the first round, but you don't have to use your first pick to do it.
Okay.
That will make a big difference as to how this quarterback thing plays out. And then once that plays out, then I'll know if the Giants are ready for prime time. Because to me, the competition ain't that great.
Now, you like Daniel Jones versus Drew Lock, right?
Absolutely. I do not like Drew Lock. He may become a great NFL quarterback. I don't know, but I don't like him.
For some strange reason, I just don't like that guy.
I'm sure there's people that didn't like Tom Brady. What'd they pick him for? That's a wasted draft pick. Well, it was the 7th round. Oh, okay. I guess that's all right. But what else could they say about it?
Giants, Eagles. I know you don't even want to talk about the Eagles.
Why not?
Well, Wentz is the quarterback now. He's going to open up. From what I understand, he's not quite 100% yet from his back injury, which is interesting considering that now Foles is gone. And they did pick up they got a running back. They got the running back from Chicago. So there's a big question as to whether they believe in Corey or what they have plans for Corey Clement, our young boy. And, you know, there's even been some questions, a little trade rumors going around that he might be involved in some trade stuff, but we'll leave that alone for right now. Anything in particular you see interesting in their schedule?
Not really. Got to go to Minnesota. That won't be fun. They have to go to Dallas, of course. That won't be fun. But they get the Seahawks and they get the Patriots at home. So that's pretty favorable. I believe I read somewhere just the other day, probably since the schedule just came out. I read it last night. But that the Eagles have the 4th easiest schedule of all the teams in the league. And as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, wow, they're really only going to get tested a couple of times. If you go by the status quo. Of course, you know, upsets happen, and that's why I say I like to do this again when we get to about mid-season.
Okay.
Games that
do have an NFC now. They do have an all NFC East closeout for the 4th quarter. Play your Giants twice, the Redskins, and the Cowboys. So all division, all within the division to close out the last quarter of the season.
So if there's one division that you can look at the last 4 games and see that they're all division games and say, you know what, I don't have to wait till the end of the season for it. This is the one. This is the one. Those games are all going to count for somebody.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Count for somebody, because it is extremely difficult, or it has been extremely difficult, to make the playoffs out of this division without being a division winner. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And they all got to play the Patriots.
They all got to play the Patriots. Redskins open up against the Eagles. They go to the Cowboys. They go to the Bears. Well, I'm saying they go, but they're at the Philadelphia. But then Dallas comes to them. The Bears comes to them. They're at the Giants. And then they see the Patriots. The Redskins, what are they doing at quarterback this year?
They grabbed somebody. They're in the Josh Rosen sweepstakes with the Giants. Those rumors have not died yet. It was interesting. They put out the Cardinals put out their new hype video for the season.
Right.
Sell tickets and stuff. and Josh Rosen is not in the video. And there's no highlights of him. There's no, he's not shown anywhere.
A Freudian slip, mayhaps.
Mayhaps his time is short. But like I said, he's going to end up somewhere. He's not.
Because I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I just think the whole team was so bad last year. You really, for a rookie, I thought he did actually pretty well.
He showed glimpses of what he can be if he has a team around him.
Mm-hmm.
They were really bad last year. They were just really bad.
All right. Let's see here. We have the Bears, a playoff squad coming back. What's this, the third year for Mitchell Trubisky now?
I believe so, yeah.
Something like that. They open up against the Packers. This is one of those 100-year games. The Packers and the Bears, I think it's the Packers. The team is older than the league.
It's probably both of them.
Yeah. Like the league's 100. The teams are like 115.
Yeah, it's probably both of them.
They might have been playing before the leather helmets.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah. It wasn't
baseball
the
caps on.
It wasn't the NFL, but yeah, they were playing.
Amazing. But that's an interesting start. They got the Packers, the Broncos, they play the Redskins, then the Vikings, and then they go to London to play the Raiders.
There's absolutely nothing interesting about that except for the Packers and the Vikings.
Well, then that's something interesting. I think the Saints, that's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to seeing them play the Saints. They are playing the Lions. That's your Thanksgiving combo right there. That should be an interesting game. I don't know about the Lions this year. We're going to talk about the Lions. They close out the Packers, the Chiefs. I said I really want to see that game against the Chiefs and the Vikings. The Lions coming up. I have no expectations for the Lions. Do you?
No, not really.
They have an NFC stretch. Let's see. Bears, Cowboys, Redskins, Bears, Vikings, Bucks. Bucks are NFC, right?
Yep.
That's a nice little NFC stretch there. So they'll either be spoilers or they'll be knocking themselves right out the box if they go on a losing streak in that time frame. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, again, they open up against the Bears. They go up against the Vikings. What do you like about the Pack this year? Anything?
Yeah, I think they'll be improved. I think they had a lot of injuries. The two best running backs seem to take turns having pretty bad injuries that kept them out for a string of games. After losing Jordy Nelson, and now it looks like Randall Cobb is gone, it's going to be tough. They're kind of reworking their receiver core. Defensively, again, that was their biggest problem last year. I believe they picked up a couple of free agents, but we'll be able to tell a little bit better after the draft.
They look like they play my Niners on a Sunday evening, 4:25. Nice little stretch there, NFC stretch for the Packers, Niners, Giants, Redskins, Bears, Vikings, Lions. Minnesota Vikings open up against the Falcons. They get a bye late in the season. They come back and they have to play the Seahawks. Anything you like about them?
I expect them to be pretty good. I expect them to be better than last season. I'll say that. They lost Thielen last year, so that was a big blow. So they'll be getting him back.
Well, they get to play the Packers on a Monday night near the end of the season. They close out with the Chargers, the Packers, and the Bears. So they better have their act together for the closeout of that season, because I expect all of those teams to be somewhat in contention. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons. know. What the Falcons are the Falcons. They scare you at all?
No, not really.
Yeah.
They haven't shown me anything as far as them trying to improve this team and get the last good season or two out of Matt Ryan. I just don't see it.
Let's see here. They play the Saints on Thanksgiving, so we'll get a chance to see what they can do at that point. Here's your man Cam. Cam with the Rams in the first opening game of the season.
Yeah, I just want him to come back healthy and 100%. I think if he does that, they'll have a lot of success. Believe it or not, if he's okay, they have more than enough to handle the Rams. That may be a better game than it looks on the surface. I don't expect Tampa Bay to be that much better than they were this year, but next year, I think we'll start to see the Bruce Arians effect kind of take over there, especially with the quarterback, Jameis. After that, they got a couple gimmies. I don't know. I tell you this, they should overtake who'd you mention before Carolina?
Before
the Falcons. They should overtake the Falcons in the standings. I expect the Saints to win the division, and I expect Cam and them to fight for the division lead and finish ultimately second.
Cam's going to be turning it up in London on October 13th. Now, we'll talk. We didn't talk about the Rams yet. I'm going to wait and talk about the Rams. But as I'm looking at this, they close out against the Saints. So here we go with the Saints and their record. So now this is the Saints. They play the Rams the second game of the season. They opened up against the Texans. What do you think about the Saints this year?
The Saints will win the division.
You think they're gonna win the division?
Yeah.
Okay. Division winners. They play the Panthers on the 24th, and they close out their season against the Panthers. They have the Falcons, Thanksgiving Day.
Two of the biggest games right there.
Huh?
Those Panthers games are the two biggest games they got.
Yeah, and they close out the season, so that's going to be interesting. The Buccaneers open up against my Niners. Then the 8th. So the first quarter, again, there's a big question is that who's going to be ready. You got you have my quarterback coming back from a knee injury. Garoppolo. That was one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen for a quarterback, though. The boy's running along the sideline, and rather than run out of bounds, he decides to take on the tackler and destroys his knee. So I hope he's played smarter this year. But the Buccaneers have the new coach now. They have the quarterback whisperer. And like you said, the question is going to be about Jameson. Is Jameson going to improve because of the new quarterback?
I mean, like I said, I don't think it's going to take effect right away. We may see some improvement in Jameis because of his relationship with the head coach. But I don't think that's going to be enough to turn the team around.
The Arizona Cardinals, well, I guess they're all up in the air. We got to figure out, they got a new coach, and it's up in the air who's going to be their quarterback. So they don't know how that's going to turn out
right
for them.
A lot of questions.
More questions, and you can't really answer any of them at this particular point. But we're just going to table them. The Rams. What do you think about Gurley? You know, a little strange last year the way that closed out with him. Is his knee really going to be an ongoing issue?
I don't know. It could be, and if it is, that would be a shame. It's hard to say. He could come back and be 100% and pick up right where he left off before things got crazy. Or we could see him slowly deteriorate and have a short career. I don't know. This running back thing is really when they talk about devaluing the importance of the running back, this is kind of the example that, or one of the examples that they hold up. Like, it doesn't matter how good a guy is coming in, and it doesn't matter how many good seasons he has. If his life expectancy is 5 years, or at least 5 years until he starts to have some kind of decline, then, I mean, that's why the position's not as valued.
Yeah, on average, there's a higher risk, of injury, and statistically, what you're saying is absolutely true, and that's why it's such a challenge to get those big contracts. He got his, and then it seems like he started acting gimpy right after he got it.
Yeah, well,
they have
how a knee goes, man. It doesn't. It could be anything. I've seen guys have to retire because of turf toe. I mean, it could be a little meniscus that needs time to heal by itself. It could be something major. Who knows?
Well, they have an NFC stretch to close out their season with the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Niners, and the Cardinals with the last 4 out of 5, all division games.
Won't matter.
Won't matter.
Nah, they'll have it pretty much wrapped up by then.
Okay, we shall see. My Niners open up against Tampa Bay. They get an early bye. 4th game, right? First bye. I guess that's usually the first bye of the season, right? Week 4.
That's correct.
So this is going to be interesting. Garoppolo's back. Kittle's back. The running back from the Vikings. Both of those guys, Garoppolo and what's his name?
Jerry McKinnon.
Huh? McKinnon, right. They apparently bonded in rehab, both having the same type of injury. And so that's going to be an interesting connection. I'm looking for some growth out of this team. One of the questions that's come up with my Niners is the whole question about the second pick, them taking what's his name? Who's the defensive back?
Pass rusher.
Huh?
They're going to take a pass rusher, defensive lineman.
Yeah, they're talking about taking. Why can't I think of his name?
Quinnen Williams.
No, I wouldn't mind if they took Quinnen. I want them to take DK Metcalf, but I'm talking about
Quinnen Williams?
Ohio State.
You like Quinnen Williams?
Yeah.
You like him over Ed Oliver from Houston?
Is Ed Oliver the one that with the heart condition?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he might be. Quinnen is he's like Big Baby. He reminds me of Big Baby with the Celtics. He's so young. He's doing stuff like, I'm eating double stuff before I run the 40, and then I run a really great 40, double stuff Oreos. He's a fun guy. I wouldn't mind having him. Like I said, I like DK. Bosa. Bosa's been in the news. I don't want Bosa at all.
Whoa. Bosa is the number 1 rated pass rusher coming out.
Yeah, I know. I still don't want him.
Why?
Number 1, I don't like his politics. He's on Twitter calling out black people left and right, talking about Trump's the greatest of all time. I don't like him at all. And I don't think that he's that much better than most of the other. There's a lot of really high-level defensive talent out there, especially rushing defensive linemen and ends and things like that. So I don't see him being that much better. Yeah, he's rated higher there, but I don't see him as being that much better. So
you sure you don't see him being that much better?
I don't want him. Huh?
Are you sure you don't see him as being that much better?
Well, you couldn't see him much because number 1, he didn't play that much last year.
Just stick to your original thing and say, I don't like his politics because of this and that, and I don't want it. Because he is better than them.
You think he's that much better than all the other defensive player rushers and stuff out there, even Quinnen?
No. I'm not going to say he's that much better,
Well,
whatever
that's what I
that
said.
is.
He's not that much better.
Whoa, slow down. Slow down. I'm not saying he's head and shoulders above the next 5 or 6 guys. But what I'm saying is, if you stack those 5 or 6 guys, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be at the top. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well.
So if you're saying, I don't like his politics, so I'll take the second best guy over him, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, well, but we do have different takes on how much better than he is. You have a different take than I do. So I am going to continue to say it, but I don't think he's that much better.
I just said he's not that much better.
His defensive pool has been really good. These guys are
better.
They've been really when we went over the players, the top 10 players, they were all defensive players.
I just said that.
So you saying he's better? I'm saying maybe he's better, but I don't see he's that much better. So I wouldn't have a problem taking anybody else rather than him on a football level either.
Oh, really?
That's what I said. I'm sticking with it. All right. Next.
Wait a minute.
I think we're just about finish this thing, Benny.
You would take Josh Allen over him? Hybrid DN outside linebacker?
Well, you know something? This is the thing. First of all, we, as the Niners, we already picked up a rusher. We got the guy from the
D Ford.
Right.
Right.
So, I don't know how much more we need of that. And I like our defensive line. I like the guys that we already have.
The last 3 defensive linemen you picked up early in each draft, only one of them panned out.
Well, they're not that bad. I still think that a lot of the problems that we had on defense was more coaching than players. So we shall see. Moving on to the Seahawks. Anything you like about them? About that season?
I expect them to be in the playoffs. I expect them to win their division. I expect them to go deep. I can see them in the NFC Championship game.
Okay. Do you think Russell Wilson's contract is going to be a hindrance to their ability to build the team now because of the size of the contract?
No, I don't. They don't seem to think so.
Okay.
They hire people for that.
See that again?
They had people in their front office to work that out.
Okay.
Before they said we're going to give you this much, they said if we give him that much, where are we going to be at 5 years down the line? Okay, boom, let's give it to him.
Okay. All right. So you don't think it's a problem?
Nope.
I think it's a question mark.
They've been pretty creative. Over the last few years of making moves and letting people go and picking people up. They've been doing all right.
All right. What I'd like to do is shift gears. That pretty much wraps up our discussion on the season. We really gave people a chance to take a good look at their team and see who their team's going to be playing. I'm sure there's some questions, disagreements, comments, concerns about everything that we've said about the different teams and what their season should look like. So I do invite the people, anyone who's watching, to leave comments and let us know what you're thinking about. But I want to shift gears, and I'm going to go over to our Facebook page because there's a few things that I want to talk about that I think are just newsworthy at this particular point. So here we are at Ben and Barry on Football on Facebook. And right now, one of the things that's happening, in the midst of all of this movement between the free agency, which is still happening, and the draft, which is what, less than a week away?
Yep.
They are still pulling people in from the now defunct American Alliance or Alliance of American Football, AAF. And we were really happy about that. We thought that this could be a jump-off point for a lot of players to get into the NFL. And it's actually happening where they're actually moving in and getting a chance to play. This is one of the articles. I actually picked this up off of Instagram, and they talk a little bit about this particular player. Let me see if I can make this just a little bigger, make it a little easier to read. Washington Redskins signed free agent quarterback Josh Woodrum. He had come in with the Giants as an undrafted free agent, and so this is just one example. I've seen a number of different examples where the AAF now are beginning to get signed, and I just wanted to mention that. I think that's a great thing. Any particular point you want to make on that?
Again, it's a shame that the AAF had to fold so quickly. I didn't think it would be long before some of those guys got picked up. And in fact, as soon as they said it was cool, it became cool. And every day across the ticker, so-and-so from an AAF team got picked up by an NFL team. So I think that's great. So it actually did provide an opportunity for some guys who hadn't previously gotten one. They were able to be seen in game situations against decent talent, and they got some jobs. What'll really be interesting is when we get through training camp to see how many AAF guys actually stuck with the final 53 on each team.
Yeah, right. And because that's the bottom line. I mean, you now have the AAF as a feeder. You know, you got college, the draft coming on. You got the movement with the free agents and things of that nature. The other thing that I wanted to mention here is that the international aspect of football is something we've talked about in previous shows, and that's now becoming a phenomenon where colleges now are recruiting internationally on a pretty high level. These are your top football schools are now going over to Europe and holding tryouts, I guess, or they're going over to take a look at some of the players that are coming that are available. You've even had some players who have left Europe. They come here, they finish up the last year of high school here, and then they get moved into the college recruiting pipeline. So this is an article that you can check out on Ben and Barry on Football, and which talks about that. We actually kind of were looking at it the other way around, thinking, at least I was in one of the previous shows, that you had a lot of college guys coming out that maybe would go play in Europe if they couldn't make it in the NFL. I think that's still a possibility, but let's face it, the highest level of football right now is right here in America. So there's going to be some movement back and forth. And again, the NFL is really growing the number of games that they're playing, internationally in London and Mexico, for example. So the exposure to American football is really increasing.
I'd say that's a big plus for, again, guys like the guys that were in the AAF who probably were not drafted out of college, didn't get a free agent look. They had somewhere to go, someplace to showcase their talents. The leagues over in Europe, I'm sure, would be more than happy to have as many American players as they possibly could. And of course, as the game picks up over there, there's going to be some young kids coming up that the NFL is probably going to cherry pick and take from over there. So,
as you say that, it is happening. Well, one of the places that they're going is to the CFL. And as you can see here in this particular post that we have on our website, you have a former CFL wide receiver in Finland. So they're really playing some ball now, beginning to play American-style football across Europe and across the United States. This is the Facebook page for the American Football International. This is an organization that's putting together, or that's sort of, I guess, coordinating as a league. You've got a lot of football now being played in places like Egypt, Norway, Finland, and I'm talking American football. And so I wanted to kind of bring that out. Here you have a Swedish linebacker playing at Notre Dame. You got some Italian football being played there, and 35,000 likes on Facebook. That's pretty hefty. It's not the NFL, but that just kind of points out what you just saying that there's a growing trend and a growing fondness for American style football. Many of the people that are pointed out in some of these articles were people who had somewhat successful athletic careers in other sports, soccer, handball, all of those types of things. So we might have to learn a second, third, and fourth language.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think this might have to happen. So look, I wanted to just mention that we are trying to expose that there's an international facet now to NFL style football that I think it's worthwhile to keep an eye on, how it's going to affect colleges and the drafting of players now with different competition levels, international competition, how it's going to affect salaries, as they're coming over and whether they can make the team. As a matter of fact, my man, Peter Schrager, Good Morning Football, today's his birthday. Shout out to Peter. Happy birthday. I sent him a tweet, happy birthday to him, because that's one of my favorite, if not my favorite analysts out there right now. He gets into the weeds. He's discovered another kicker that's coming in. Was it the Seahawks that had a kicker who had a lot of trick kicks? He was doing drop punts and all types of stuff. I think it might have been him. But this guy has a name now. I forget what his name was, but whoever Peter was talking about, he was super excited about this guy and his ability because, as you know, like with the kickoff rule now, the different teams don't want to kick it into the end zone because that automatically brings it out to the 25. So to play that yardage game now, they're looking at ways to kick the ball so that it dies right there around the 5-yard line, where the player has to then, do something with it, and you have the chance to potentially tackle him and get him down before he gets to the 25, so you have a net positive, yardage for your defense. So these different kickers and stuff like that, that's something Peter was talking about, where he was saying how good this guy was. But again, these are people coming internationally. When they did a study recently, they did not even include the kickers because we're kind of used to kickers coming into the NFL, from an international source. But now we're talking linebackers, running backs, D linemen. They got some massive people coming over here. Guys that are like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" linemen, who've been playing soccer, for example.
Right.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how this grows.
I'm thinking and hoping that maybe we see some more rugby players come over, since that seems to be the game that closest associates with football. But
I still never understood. The Eagles picked up the rugby guy, and all his videos was him running through and over people, and they went straight to linemen.
Yeah.
They didn't even give him a chance to try to run the ball or to teach him or anything.
He probably can't do it. He's probably not good at it.
You think he just didn't try out well? I mean, he was good at it in rugby. I mean, he was like a superstar. Yeah. He wasn't a regular running guy. He was like beast mode of rugby.
It's a different game.
Well, we'll see how that works out. Okay, so close out. Um, we just want to usually go through our social media. Here's the Facebook page for the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. We will be publishing again shortly. We just went through the season, and as we shared the NFL schedule, I could smell the net points firing up here for our Net Point Power Rankings. So I'm really looking forward to the new season and how the net points are going to play out. We have our Twitter page at B&B on Football. And again, join us. Did you see the playbook? Kirk Cousins put out a picture of the playbook.
No.
Massive playbook there. They asked him, said, well, how are you going to attack the playbook? He said, well, same way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. He said, you start at the first page, go through it, write your questions down, and go from there. That's a lot of plays, though.
Yeah.
About normal.
I'd say Gruden's book is bigger than that.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Well, it would be because the name of the play takes up 3 lines.
Yep.
That was one of the questions about him. Is he going to be able to run any type of a hurry up offense when your play verbiage takes 60 seconds to spit it out?
I don't know that he's even interested in that.
I don't know either. It's the wave of the NFL right now, but I don't know either. So again, we did finally get our Instagram page up, and our followers are growing by leaps and bounds. I think it grew by 100% in the last week. That went from about 13 to about 27. So there we go with that. And finally, if you go to www.benandbarryonfootball.com, it will take you to our YouTube channel directly, where the archive of all of the videos and that we have and all of the things that we've talked about, like the international, for example, is all there. You can go back and review a lot of that information. Our list of all of the top draft picks. We went through that and we talked about that. So there's a lot of good stuff there for anyone who wants to go through anything. So just wanted to go through our social media real quick. All right, Benny, this is about wrap-up time when we bring up the rants. Anything?
Yeah, I got a rant. I don't know if this is really a rant. I always say that. I don't know if this is really a rant. It's just something I was thinking about. Like, so Tiger Woods wins the Masters, right? And it's funny. There's a lot of good golfers out there. And there are a lot of them are young. And it seems like every time a tournament comes up, I hear at least one of 5 or 6 different names kind of over and over again. So there's a small group that's kind of established itself as the threat to win a tournament at any time.
Okay.
And always a threat to win a major.
Right.
But I have to give the media credit, the sports media. They never forgot about Tiger. They always talk about Tiger Woods, whether or not he's going to get in a particular tournament. And then once he does, they cover him for as long as he's within striking distance.
Okay.
And, sooner or later, they stop talking about him and they talk about Ricky Fowler or the Boyd Johnson or I can't think of the names off the top of my head because I still got football in my head. But I have to give him credit for that because it's like they knew that sooner or later he was going to break through. And not only did he break through, but he broke through at the major of all majors, which is the Masters. Is the biggest, basically the biggest tournament besides maybe the U.S. Open that there is. And he won it. He won it in dramatic fashion, but he was also dominant when he needed to be. And that being said, there are still people trying to tear him down. Talking about, oh, well, him and his wife were fighting and he crashed up the car and this and that. And the man almost broke his back. Like the doctors was talking about, you'll be lucky if you can play with your kids. And he didn't just like wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm gonna go show up at the Masters and see what I can do. He was grinding. He was finishing 11th and 17th. But he put it together that day. Just let the man have it, man. Just let him have it. I think, you know what? I'm pretty sure Jack Nicklaus's record is 18 majors. I think Tiger now has 15 or 16. So for those years when he was hurt, all that was pretty much forgotten. He'll never catch him. But to win the Masters now, after having won a major in 13 years or something, oh, he can get it. It can happen. I don't know if it will happen. I'm not going to predict that it will happen, but I hope it does happen, and it could happen. And that's good enough for me.
You know, I don't follow golf often. I did tune in when they talked about Tiger, and then I listened to Tiger talk about how he played that game. And what I got out of it was that Tiger's maturity came into play in this game. And where other guys, when he was at, I think it was the 16th hole, and they were talking about, you know, guys were hitting the ball like really, I guess, really hard and kind of screwing themselves up a little bit at that hole rather than hitting the ball less hard, not trying to get the ball really close to the hole, but just keeping it on the green.
I think that was the hole where the ball kept rolling into the water.
Yeah, that's what people were doing.
Guys, they hit the spot that was closest to the green, but the ball rolled back and went into the water, where he overshot the pin, had a longer putt, but landed safely.
Exactly. See, he kind of smoothed them. And what you're saying is, you know, his maturity at this point, and he's at a point where he's fought through, like you said, the physical ailments that he had, and they were really serious.
They
but
were
then he
really
also
serious.
Had,
really serious. I was, yeah.
Yeah, really serious. And then, you know, all of the personal issues that he had, you know.
Which he brought on himself.
He brought them on himself. But again, you have to mature through that. You know what I mean? If you're going to come back and compete at this level.
Absolutely.
You can't be the same knucklehead you were.
No.
Same type of stuff.
That would have crushed the normal.
Two levels, pulled it together in order to achieve what he just achieved.
All that stuff together would have crushed most guys.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be hearing from them no more.
Yeah.
As some people speculated, we wouldn't hear from him anymore. That he would just play out the string and retire and never win another major. So, yeah, that was a major accomplishment. I'm so sure.
The only thing that surprised me, well, I'm not the only thing, because again, I'm not a big golf guy. One thing that did surprise me, I actually thought that they made more money when they won the major. He won like $2 million, and for this particular golf tournament, you know, the way they talk about it.
Well, it's more prestige, I think, than the money.
Yeah, definitely more prestige, because it came out around the same time Russell Wilson was signing that humongous contract, and it just looked like, man, you know, one guy signing for $140 million, the other guy made $2 million. He made it in one weekend, a few days, whatever.
Right.
But I just thought that, you know, that particular tournament would have paid much more money.
I think it's all about where it is and who the sponsors are. Like, there's a big tournament in Dubai that probably pays goo gobs of money. You know, I mean, how many zeros on goo gobs, huh? Goo gobs. Yeah. A lot of zeros.
A lot of zeros there. All right, Benny. I have nothing in terms of a rant. I'm a happy man. It is what it is. I think I ranted whatever I was going to rant relative to Bosa. So that's pretty much it. I'll leave that at that. Any last words?
I think that Bosa rant would have been pretty good from you, but nah. Other than that, go Knowles.
Go Knowles. Peace out.